Let me start by really sharing with you that it has been a real pleasure to work with Minister Getty and his team in Peru. Some of the persons are accompanying us now in the Peruvian delegation and also with the permanent mission. It has been a very interesting time the last couple of months that we have been looking into from a UNIDO side in what Peru represents in terms of a country within this PCP context. And I think I have only a couple of very brief points that I would like to bring on to the table. The first thing is, what is the starting situation? Peru is a very typical Latin American country. It is a middle-income country, and it has shown a lot of progress. Actually, it has reduced poverty quite impressively over the last couple of years. But on the other hand, Peru is also a country that continues to depend quite heavily on extractive industries and the primary sector, and there is a lot, really a lot to be done to spur industrial growth and to use the industrialization process to convert in Peru into a resilient economy and into a more productive economy. No? All the Latin American economies are basically struggling to improve their performance in terms of productivity, and so there is a lot to be done. So it represents, the first point I want to make is it presents really a very typical Latin American situation. Second point is that we found that Peru has really a very solid policy basis to bring about change. I think from what we have heard from Minister Getty and his points on the plan for diversification of the productive sector, you could easily see that there is a clear plan on the government side, and this is a plan that is not only supported by the Ministry of Industry, which of course it is their job to have plans like that, but from our discussions within Peru, we found that this plan is actually supported very actively by the private sector, as you all could hear from Mr. Wedemeyer's short video message, but also other ministries are really dedicated, and the president himself, to the issue of bringing about structural change in Peru. Thirdly, what is, I think, extremely important in the PCP context is what the potential of implementing ISID principles is. So basically, is it just industrial development, or are we talking about inclusiveness, and are we talking about environmental sustainability? And also here, if you look at the plan for productive diversification, you will see that one of the major points of it is inclusiveness. First, in terms of regional decentralization of industrial development. While talking about industrial parks might make you think we are talking about types of enclave industry, this is not the case. The idea of industrial parks is really going across the country. I think we could see it from Mr. Getty's presentation. First thing. And second thing, also to bring in micro and small enterprises to join these industrialization hubs, including them, incorporating them into national and international value chains. So inclusiveness includes the issue of MSMEs, but also the regional issues. This is something that you find in many Latin American countries, that industrial development is really limited to some centers of modern economic development. And that is very clearly in the plan that this will need to change. Equally important, the commitment to sustainability, to sustainable industrial development. Peru recently has submitted a very ambitious intended national determined contribution to the COP21, which is presented in parallel a couple of kilometers away from here. And this demonstrates very, very clearly a commitment to low carbon growth. But also, Peru is a signatory to the main multilateral environmental agreements that are so important and where UNIDO plays a major role in supporting countries to implement them. So Peru is a signatory to the Minamata Convention, recognizing that the mercury problem needs to be solved somehow. Peru is a signatory to the Stockholm Convention, equally important. As already said, a very active player in COP21, as well as, of course, COP20, which Peru hosted a year ago.
Yeah, Mr. Dobinger, I'd like to go back to Mr. Gezi, so if you can just conclude here, please, then I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then the final point I want to make is that the replication potential of the PCP Peru. When we discussed with the minister's team about the fact that there will be elections next year, and this might create kind of a changed situation for the PCP, we realized that actually the PCP itself might be a vehicle to provide continuity to this ambitious industrial policy. So this is certainly something that we have in mind. We want to create this multi-stakeholder partnership to provide this continuity, and also the membership of, a very proactive membership of Peru in regional and global integration efforts, such as APEC, where Peru will be president next year, and in the Trans-Pacific Partnership, in the Pacific Alliance, in the Andean community. This will provide an excellent platform to share the experience of the PCP, but it will also add to the continuity of the embarked on industrial policies. So those are my comments. Thank you, John.